Welcome to the Care for Kūpuna podcast, where we dive into health, wellness, and vibrant living of our cherished Kūpunas. We are thrilled to take you on a journey exploring everything from health and wellness tips, deeply rooted in the spirit of Hawaii, to navigating the intricacies of retirement, preserving our rich culture heritage, and fostering vibrant communities for our elders.
Whether you're a Kūpuna yourself, a family member, a dedicated caregiver, or simply someone passionate about supporting and uplifting our elders, this podcast is for you. Each episode is crafted with love and the intention to inspire, inform, and celebrate the golden years. So sit back, relax, and join us on this meaningful journey as we care for Kūpuna.
Welcome to this week's episode of Care for Kūpuna, where we care for our Kūpuna. I'm Lani.
And I'm Trina.
And we are your Kūpuna Care Girls. And this week's episode on Care for Kūpuna, we're so excited to introduce the President and CEO, Shelley Wilson of Wilson Care. Aloha, Shelley. Thank you for joining us today. And so honored to have you. I know you're very busy.
Aloha. Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we'll get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and how you got started in the senior care industry.
Yeah, so we are celebrating our 28th year being in business in Hawaii. And about 20, 30, maybe 29, 30 years ago, I was in the military. And I was in a very bad accident that left me in a wheelchair for a couple of years. And my family was taking care of me, and it was quite difficult. And so, for those 2 years, I was a medic, a combat medic in the Army. But for those 2 years, it was a struggle for my loved ones and family to care for me. So eventually, I ended up in Hawaii. And when I was 21, I decided to start my first company, which is the home care business. And, I knew what it felt like to be a patient. I knew what it felt like to be frustrated with having your loved one take care of you. So, so I started the business 28 years ago. And here we are.
That's so awesome, Shelley. What specific services do you offer that makes you stand out from the other organizations in the community?
I think through the years, we've grown so much. So we provide a lot of different services. So a lot of options for families. Home care is not for everyone. So we built a care facility in 2007 in Kailua. So that's an option for people. It's an affordable option much more affordable option for 24-hour care. But we also offer a variety of services from pediatrics to geriatrics. We have wounded warrior programs for traumatic brain injury. We have hospice programs to help people in that type of situation. We also have home care for short-term temporary illness. Maybe you broke your leg and need help. Or we also offer 24/7 services for people that need care around the clock. So a lot of variety and flexibility for families to supplement, because a lot of people do have loved ones that are providing care to them, as well. So it's very flexible, and people can pick and choose.
That's great. A lot of valuable resources. Physical and social activities are so important when it comes to seniors. What types of activities or programs do you want to highlight to keep the residents mentally, physically, and socially active?
That depends really on everyone's abilities. And certainly in home care, we try to keep things as normal as possible in someone's own home. If they have a routine or things that they like to do, we try to make that routine part of their life and as normal as possible, depending on what situation or what care level they're at. Sometimes it's not possible for people to maintain that activity or maintain that level of intensity. Maybe they were exercising or doing, qigong in the park, but we definitely try to keep people in that headspace of as normal as possible. And then at our care facility, we actually have a specific program for activities. And again, that is dependent upon each individual's abilities and desires and interests. Sometimes they develop new interests and they figure out things that they maybe not done before. Like a lot of our older gentlemen maybe have not done yoga. And the chair yoga that we have, our chair yoga program, I think it's really, it's really fun to see people that have never done certain things get into it. So so it just depends on individuals' own personal desires. We don't force anyone to do anything, and we like to have people have some self-discovery as well.
Nice. Are there any upcoming projects or events that you want to share with us or that you want the community to be aware of?
We are about, we just had a meeting about this today. We're about 14 months away from celebrating our 30th anniversary. So our 30th anniversary year will be a very, very big deal. We've been so fortunate and blessed to have been able to take care of so many in our community, not just on Oahu, but on the neighbor islands as well. And just reflecting and taking a moment to look back and feel so grateful that we've been able to help so many people in Hawaii of all different walks of life, of all different ages, of all different needs, but helping people in their greatest time of need. And sometimes also not just the patient, but supporting the family members through some very, very difficult times and uncertain times that they're going through. I mean, that is, we're very, very grateful for the opportunity to have been there for so many people.
So amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. I mean, it's so inspirational. You turned that into a vision and a mission to help other people and their families. Get choked up because I think about the process that we had to go through and for my family. But can you share a story or a testimony of a resident and their family member or an inspirational story you would like to share for our listeners?
There's so many stories. I think that are so heart-wrenching and so touching. From our wounded warriors to our seniors that we've been able to care for. But I think that sometimes when you least expect it, I've been in the business for a very, very long time, and I've heard thousands of stories for people, and I still get choked up and touched by certain circumstances and situations. And most recently, I was at our care facility, and there's this lovely gentleman that always does his New York Times crossword puzzles on the second floor, and he's just this adorable elderly man, and he just keeps to himself and he's doing his crossword puzzles. And so I struck up a conversation with him, and he talked about how important it was for him to be there because his wife is on the first floor and she has dementia and she doesn't remember who he is anymore, but he goes and visits her every day, and he has his own space in his own room. And she has her own space in her own room. But then he talked about how they met and just the way that his eyes lit up and how he reflected on this romantic period in his life where he was so in love with this person, and he's even more in love with her today. And, I thought about where people look at our Kūpuna and seniors, and you don't feel like there's this Hollywood movie or secret romantic stories about, life. But this guy, oh my gosh, like every girl wants to be in love like that. Every girl wants their guy to be that way, for them, and to honor and cherish his wife, at this age, he's all in. And he had the funniest stories about what a horrible cook she was and how sassy she was, and he was laughing and giggling. It was so touching. I could have sat all day and talked to him. And I think that's the other beautiful and sad part too about our Kūpuna is our family members are so busy and maybe they've heard the story 100 times, and it's not as interesting because you've heard it 100 times. But having somebody come into their home, or a complete stranger that's going to give them the time, love, and attention to really hear their stories and be interested in them. We have these walking history books in Hawaii. Some of these people were in their backyard, hanging clothes during the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Mm-hmm. Some people have been through, incredible times that, we would never ever think of. But, just taking a moment to ask people questions about their life, and, it's amazing. There really is amazing stories, and about love and life and loss and hurt. Mm-hmm. And it's really incredible.
That's so beautiful.
That sounds like The Notebook, the book, or the movie.
Yeah. Except for she's not in love with anyone in our care facility. Thank goodness. Except for she's not sneaking in the middle of the night into anyone's room. No. Maybe that's why he's there, to make sure that that's not going to happen. He probably saw that movie.
Shelley, for families considering Wilson Care, what advice would you give them as they navigate the important decision?
I think it's important to have conversations about these difficult life choices before you need them. So often we get calls from people that are in a panic. Their loved one just had a hip fracture. They're getting discharged from the hospital. They have no idea, that care was going to be, the burden of cost for the care was going to be on them. They don't know where to go, what to do, or, how to honor your loved one's wishes. So I think as busy as everyone is, and long-term care is not a super interesting or exciting subject to talk about, I think it's really important that people are educated before they need it, and really start to have conversations. And, a lot of times siblings, they assume that, most often the daughters are going to take care, or they assume that the person that lives in Hawaii, you'll have time to deal with it. Or, a lot of stress for family members, and it's a divider for sure. I think when people are going through such a stressful time, but having those conversations ahead of time, and not being afraid to ask questions and look at a lot of different resources. It's important for everyone to feel good about the care that's being provided, where their loved one is at. And although you might not always have a bunch of choices because of space available and resources available, it is good to know what your parent wants or your loved one wants in the long run.
Before they need it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're changing it up a little bit. We're going to do a fun game of would you rather questions pertaining to home care. And I'll let Lonnie start with it.
Okay. Shelley, would you rather have technology device monitoring your health real time, or a personal care coordinator to manage all aspects of your care?
100% the personal person to have those conversations with, and to have the human contact, human interaction cannot be replaced by AI.
Yeah,
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
And just like AI, the robot wouldn't have sat to listen to this romantic story and been so interested, right?
Yes. So Shelley, would you rather have a robot companion for social interaction or a therapeutic emotional support animal?
Oh my gosh, bring on the puppies. I need the puppies. I need all the fur animals that you have. I love it. And even the residents and seniors that have never been around animals, they fall in love. They love that. Even the tactile touch, of petting an animal is just, so important.
Oh, Shelley, thank you so much for being on this week's episode. And we really appreciate you and love that you're a trusted partner of Care for Kūpuna. And with that, we'd like to bid you a hui ho, and where aloha meets wisdom, one podcast at a time. A hui ho.
Bye.
Mahalo for joining us on this episode of Care for Kūpuna, where we explore health, wellness, and vibrant living for our cherished Kūpunas. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights.
Remember, your support can make a difference. 20% of all proceeds from our podcast go to a nonprofit organization here in Hawaii dedicated to helping seniors in our community. If you'd like to contribute, visit our website at www.carewithak4kupuna.com and make a donation.
Are you a brand or business looking to align with our mission? Consider sponsoring our podcast. Visit our website for more information on sponsorship opportunities.
For those with stories to share, we invite you to be a guest speaker on our podcast. Head over to our website to express your interest and become part of the conversation.
Last but not least, stay connected with us by subscribing to our email list and following us on social media at Care for Kūpuna with a K. Join the Care for Kūpuna community to stay updated on all things related to health, culture, and creating vibrant communities for our elders.
We appreciate your time and look forward to welcoming you back on the next episode of Care for Kūpuna.